Marina, after 15 years with Nova Corp, we're optimizing your position, Isabella Clark announced, her voice dripping with barely concealed satisfaction. My stomach tightened as she sat across from me in the conference room, with Heather from HR beside her, both wearing those fake expressions of corporate sympathy that made my blood boil. The company needs fresh perspectives, Heather added, sliding a folder across the table. My fingers trembled slightly as I took it. Your salary could fund 3 junior developers, she stated coldly. I accepted the folder without opening it, my face a careful mask hiding the storm inside. The severance package felt like a pitiful consolation prize for years of dedication. I understand, I replied, my voice betraying none of the anger burning in my chest. Business decisions are never personal, right? Relief washed over their faces. They'd expected tears or protests from a 52-year-old woman being pushed aside. Little did they know I'd prepared for this moment since finding that leaked email chain last month. I closed my office door, hands trembling with adrenaline as I pulled out my personal phone. My heart raced as I typed a single text, "It's happening. Friday is my last day." The response flashed instantly, perfect timing. Contracts ready. Family dinner tonight to finalize details. A smile spread across my face as I glanced at my desk calendar. Today was Wednesday. Friday I'd walk out of Nova Corp forever. And Monday? My chest swelled with anticipation. Monday would be absolutely glorious. That evening, I met Jonathan Hudson at my brother Robert's sprawling estate, miles from Nova Corp headquarters. As Tech Innovations CEO and my brother-in-law, Jonathan understood discretion perfectly. We gathered in Robert's private study, surrounded by family portraits that reminded me of our shared history. They actually went through with it, Jonathan said, shaking his head incredulously. To discard the very person who created their flagship product. Daniel never appreciated what I built, I replied, gripping my wine glass tightly. He saw the marketing angle and sales potential, but the actual innovation. Just technical details to him. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. 3 months ago, I discovered Nova Corp never filed the patent for my product innovation, an administrative oversight they claimed. Something in their dismissive response felt wrong, prompting me to dig deeper into company files. That's when I found it, a confidential memo detailing plans to claim my innovation as company developed without my name attached. They planned to push me out before securing the patent, assuming all my work automatically belonged to them. Everything's ready, Jonathan said, sliding a leather portfolio across the table. Sign here, and Tech Innovation officially acquires exclusive rights to your product design. The announcement goes out Monday, introducing you as our new Chief Innovation Officer. My heart pounded as I reviewed the contract, though I'd practically memorized the terms, a stunning 7-figure signing bonus, significant equity stake, and royalties from all products using my innovation. Can you imagine Daniel's face when he realizes what's happened? Robert asked, his eyes gleaming with brotherly pride. I'm worried about my team, I confessed, feeling a knot in my stomach. Ryan and the others don't deserve to be caught in this storm. Jonathan smiled reassuringly. Already handled. We have positions for all 6 of them, senior roles with substantial raises. I signed the final page with a flourish, a wave of emotion washing over me. I'd secured my future, protected my team, and ensured my work would be properly recognized. To new beginnings, Jonathan said, raising his glass. And to knowing one's true worth, I added, clinking my glass against his. The next 2 days passed in a whirlwind of procedures for leaving, knowledge transfers, and farewells. I maintained perfect composure despite the whispers following me through hallways. Junior staff members gave me sympathetic looks, younger developers awkwardly approached, requesting LinkedIn recommendations. I documented everything with painstaking detail, each project, password, and process, knowing Nova Corp would soon realize just how much they needed my expertise. My meticulous transition notes weren't kindness, they were evidence that I had acted professionally while the company had not. During my final interview before leaving on Friday afternoon, Heather ran through her checklist with robotic efficiency. You understand all intellectual property developed during employment remains Nova Corp property, she stated flatly, pushing a non-disclosure agreement toward me. Absolutely, I replied with a warm smile that masked my inner triumph. Anything developed within my employment scope, using company resources, during company hours, I emphasized those distinctions slightly, but Heather was too focused on her checklist to notice my heart racing. And you confirm having no copies of proprietary information? I've taken nothing that belongs to Nova Corp, I answered truthfully, my confidence soaring. The patent was legitimately mine. While packing my personal items, family photos, conference badges spanning 15 years, the custom mug my team gave me, Isabella appeared, leaning against my doorframe with fake casualness that made my skin crawl. Just checking everything's clear for your exit, she said, eyes tracking each item I placed in my box. Crystal clear, I replied, carefully wrapping a Product Innovation Award. The irony stung as I nestled it between tissue paper layers. You know, Marina, these optimization decisions aren't personal, Isabella continued with false sympathy. Daniel believes we need younger perspectives. I met her gaze directly, feeling a surge of satisfaction. I completely understand. Business is business. Something in my tone made her hesitate. Uncertainty flickered across her face before she dismissed it. What threat could a 52-year-old woman possibly pose? Taking some time off? She asked with artificial concern. Actually, I already have something lined up, I replied, savoring the moment. I start Monday. Surprise flashed across her face. That's quick. Anything interesting? I smiled mysteriously. Very. A leadership position. I'm absolutely thrilled about it. As I walked out of Nova Corp's gleaming headquarters for the final time, security badge surrendered and personal belongings in hand, I paused to look back at the building where I'd invested 15 years of my life. My chest tightened with emotion as I spotted the executive conference room glowing on the top floor, no doubt discussing how to divide my responsibilities among cheaper, younger staff with half my expertise. Little did they know that in less than 72 hours, that same room would be hosting an emergency crisis meeting instead. Monday morning arrived with brilliant sunshine that matched my mood. I dressed meticulously in my new tailored suit, a power outfit I'd selected specifically for this momentous day. My heart raced with anticipation as Tech Innovation's luxury sedan arrived precisely at 7:30 a.m. to escort me to their headquarters for my first day as Chief Innovation Officer. The announcement went live at 7 a.m., Jonathan informed me as I settled into my spacious corner office with breathtaking floor-to-ceiling views. Industry publications are already running with it. The communications team is tracking reactions. The press release had been crafted with perfect strategic timing. Tech Innovation acquires exclusive rights to revolutionary product innovation, welcomes creator Dr. Marina Weston as Chief Innovation Officer. It detailed my impressive background, highlighted my role as the sole inventor of the patented technology, and outlined Tech Innovation's plans to integrate my innovation into their next-generation products. Most critically, it stated that any company currently using the technology would need to negotiate licensing agreements with Tech Innovation immediately. At exactly 9:15 a.m., my phone buzzed with a message from Ryan, my lead developer at Nova Corp. Absolute chaos here. What have you done? I smiled with satisfaction as I typed back, check your personal email. All 6 of you have offers waiting. Meanwhile, 8 miles away at Nova Corp headquarters, the scheduled executive meeting on Monday was transforming into something far more urgent. According to Ryan's breathless updates throughout the morning, Daniel had arrived to find both the company's legal counsel and CFO waiting anxiously at his door, faces drained of color. My heart raced as I imagined their panic when the industry announcement hit their inboxes simultaneously, triggering immediate alarm bells. By 9:30 a.m., their routine meeting had devolved into a full-blown emergency crisis session. My stomach fluttered with excitement as Ryan reported board members frantically dialing in remotely while the legal team desperately combed through my employment contract and product development documentation. "They're grabbing every file with your name on it," Ryan texted. "Someone just rushed in all the development servers for the tech team to analyze." I could feel my pulse quicken with each update. I could visualize the scene vividly, Daniel pacing the conference room, red-faced, demanding explanations from Isabella and the legal department. The stock was already plummeting, investors despised uncertainty, and our announcement had delivered it in spades. At 10:45 a.m., something unexpected happened. My brother Robert called. "I just reached out to them," he said, his voice tinged with satisfaction. "I've requested an immediate meeting as their largest client. I'll be there by noon." By midday, industry channels were buzzing with speculation. Novacore's stock had plunged 8% since the opening of the stock market, while tech innovation had surged 15%. My phone wouldn't stop ringing with interview requests about the strategic maneuver that had shaken the industry to its core. "How does it feel?" Jonathan asked, dropping by my stunning new office. "Validating," I admitted, a warmth spreading through my chest. 15 years watching others claim credit for my innovations, being told I should be grateful just to have a position, and now, finally, proper recognition. As I walked toward my first leadership meeting, my phone vibrated with another update from Ryan, board called emergency session. "Daniel looks like he's having a meltdown. P.S. My entire team accepts your offers. When can we start?" Robert revealed, "The head of the department that got fired from Nova Corp last week is my sister." Expressing dissatisfaction with how his family was treated, he declared a review of their 15-year-long business relationship as NovaCore's largest customer. By Tuesday morning, the devastating impact of my departure had become painfully clear to everyone at NovaCorp. Their flagship product relied completely on my innovation for the competitive edge that had made them industry leaders. Without licensing rights to my patent, they faced two equally terrible options: negotiate with tech innovation or rebuild their core technology from scratch, a process that would drain years and millions in development costs. Daniel called an emergency all-hands for 2 p.m., Ryan texted on his final day. My heart skipped as I read his next words: "Rumor is they're planning to sue you." I forwarded his message to our legal team, who responded with confidence that made my anxiety melt away. "Let them try. Your documentation is flawless, development logs, timestamps, personal equipment usage, all meticulously recorded. We've anticipated this reaction." Meanwhile, I was embracing my new role with surprising ease. The respect I received at Tech Innovation stood in stark contrast to my final years at NovaCorp. When I spoke in meetings, I felt a rush of satisfaction as people actually listened attentively. My ideas weren't stolen by male colleagues and presented as their own. My age and experience were treated as valuable assets rather than liabilities. "The engineering team is implementing your enhancements," Jonathan reported during our afternoon briefing. "Early testing shows a 51% performance improvement, even better than expected." I had several refinements I never shared with NovaCorp, I confessed, feeling a twinge of satisfaction. After discovering they planned to eliminate my position, I saw no reason to give them my best innovations. At 3:30 p.m., Ryan sent me a detailed account of Daniel's all-hands meeting that made my heart race with satisfaction. The CEO had attempted to project confidence, promising staff that NovaCorp would aggressively defend our proprietary technology, but Ryan described the palpable anxiety filling the room. Several employees had already begun updating their LinkedIn profiles, sensing the company's impending crisis. Isabella looked like she might collapse when someone directly asked if they'd failed to secure the patent, Ryan reported. Daniel immediately shut down the Q&A after that. I've never seen him so rattled. By Wednesday, the industry fallout had intensified beyond my wildest expectations. 2 major clients had contacted Tech Innovation about switching from NovaCore's products, expressing concerns about the company's ability to maintain quality without the innovation's creator. Our stock had surged another 8%, while NovaCore's continued its free fall. My heart skipped when I received a call from Heather, the same woman who had coldly slid my severance package across the table just days earlier. Marina, she began, her voice strained with forced professionalism, I'm calling about the situation with your patent. We believe there may be a misunderstanding regarding ownership rights. I don't see any misunderstanding, I replied, feeling a wave of confidence wash over me. My employment agreement explicitly states that intellectual property developed on my own time, using personal resources, remains mine. The patent documentation confirms this precisely. Daniel was hoping you might consider coming in to discuss options, she said, a note of desperation creeping into her voice. Any discussions must go through Tech Innovation's legal department now, I responded firmly. They'll be happy to arrange a meeting about licensing terms. The lengthy silence on the other end filled me with satisfaction. Finally, Heather sighed heavily. I'll let him know. By Friday, just 1 week after I'd walked out of NovaCore's doors for the last time, the company had plunged into full-blown crisis mode. Their stock had plummeted a staggering 23% from Monday, triggering panic calls from major investors. My heart raced with vindication as industry analysts published articles with headlines like Can NovaCorp Survive the Innovation Crisis? And how one colossal misjudgment might destroy a market leader. Through my industry network, I discovered that Daniel had finally admitted the gravity of the situation to the board. In the midst of all this, Daniel sent me a frantic message. He offered to rehire me as a strategic talent development officer and give me a raise and executive treatment. But, of course, I refused. My stomach fluttered with satisfaction knowing NovaCorp now faced an impossible choice: license my innovation from Tech Innovation, at rates that would crush their profit margins, or undertake a complete rebuild of their flagship product without using any element covered by my patent. They're desperately interviewing for a new development team, Ryan told me during our Friday video call about his team's transition. Daniel's making ridiculous claims they can recreate your innovation in 6 months. I couldn't suppress my laughter. The original design had taken me 3 years to perfect with my intimate understanding of the problem. Exactly, Ryan agreed, shaking his head. Nobody believes that timeline, especially after your entire team submitted resignation letters on the same day. The brain drain is catastrophic for them. That afternoon, NovaCore's attorneys finally contacted Tech Innovation to discuss licensing arrangements. Our legal team responded with terms that were technically fair but strategically brutal: triple the standard industry rate, plus a public acknowledgement of my role as the technology's sole inventor. They'll fight the acknowledgement more than the cost, Jonathan predicted as we reviewed the response. Daniel's ego won't let him admit he pushed out the person who created their core technology. Then they'll have to rebuild from scratch, I replied, feeling a wave of confidence. And every day they waste trying to replicate my work is another day we extend our market leadership. The following Monday morning, just 10 days after my humiliating dismissal, I led the first meeting with my newly assembled innovation team, which included Ryan and the other 5 engineers from NovaCorp. My heart swelled with pride as I felt the electric energy filling the room while we mapped out the next evolution of my product design. This is how development should actually work, Melissa, one of my former team members, said with obvious relief. At Nova Corp, we wasted half our time explaining basic concepts to executives who never really listened anyway. That's the profound difference between being valued and being treated as disposable, I replied, feeling a deep sense of vindication. Here, your expertise is genuinely appreciated. As we concluded our incredibly productive session, my assistant appeared at the door, her expression betraying excitement. Dr. Weston, there's been a major development at Nova Corp. Their board just announced an emergency leadership change. Daniel Frost is stepping down, effective immediately. The news spread like wildfire. Within hours, industry publications were reporting that Nova Corp's board had completely lost confidence in Daniel's leadership following the patent disaster that threatened the company's core products. Isabella Clark was also terminated, along with the legal department head who had failed to secure proper patent protection. That evening, I received a surprising email from Olivia Carter, Nova Corp's newly appointed board chairwoman. Unlike Daniel's desperate message from the previous week, this one was direct and respectful. Dr. Weston, congratulations on your new position. I've been asked to help Nova Corp navigate through this challenging situation. I'd like to discuss a fair licensing arrangement for your patented innovation. We're prepared to publicly acknowledge your contributions and make appropriate amends for the previous management's oversights. Would you be available to meet next week? I forwarded the email to Jonathan, adding a simple note, Phase 1 complete. His reply arrived instantly, brilliantly executed. The team is celebrating your first major victory for tech innovation. Looks like Nova Corp is finally learning an expensive lesson about properly valuing innovation and the innovators behind it. 3 months after leaving Nova Corp, I sat on stage at the Women in Technology Leadership Summit, my heart racing as I prepared to deliver the keynote address. The grand ballroom overflowed with industry leaders, technology journalists, and aspiring developers, many now familiar with my journey. I'm honored to introduce our keynote speaker, the conference chair announced with evident admiration, Dr. Marina Weston, Chief Innovation Officer at Tech Innovation and creator of the revolutionary product design that has transformed multiple industries. My chest swelled with pride as enthusiastic applause filled the room. What an incredible difference a few months had made. Last year, I'd attended this same conference as part of the Nova Corp delegation, relegated to a back seat while Daniel presented his company's innovations. Thank you, I began, gazing across the sea of attentive faces. Today I want to discuss innovation, recognition, and why properly valuing intellectual contributions matters, regardless of the creator's age or gender. My presentation covered the technical aspects of my innovation while addressing the broader issues of recognition and respect in the technology sector. Without explicitly naming Nova Corp, I emphasized how companies must protect their innovators rather than treating them as disposable resources. Afterward, during the reception, several young female engineers approached me with tears in their eyes, seeking guidance and mentorship. One of them, barely 30, confided, "Your story completely changed how I document my work. I've started keeping detailed logs of everything I develop on my personal time." Smart move, I replied, feeling a surge of satisfaction. Your innovations deserve proper protection. As the evening concluded, my phone buzzed with breaking industry news. Nova Corp had finally announced their licensing agreement with Tech Innovation, acknowledging me by name as the innovation's creator. Their stock had stabilized, though at a significantly lower valuation than before my departure. "Happy anniversary," Jonathan said, setting the glasses on my elegant desk. The board asked me to share this news personally before the public announcement. Tech Innovation has officially surpassed Nova Corp in market valuation for the first time in company history. My heart filled with not triumph but profound satisfaction. That's what happens when you genuinely value innovation and experience. As Jonathan poured champagne, my assistant delivered a beautiful embossed envelope. Inside was an invitation to deliver the keynote at Women in Technology's annual Leadership Summit. The topic, Owning Your Intellectual Value, How Proper Documentation Transformed an Industry. "You've become something of an icon," Jonathan remarked, noticing my emotional reaction to the invitation. The story of executives who didn't recognize what they had until it vanished has become a powerful cautionary tale in boardrooms everywhere. Olivia Carter, who had remained as Novacore's board chair after the crisis, had implemented comprehensive changes in how the company recognized and rewarded innovation. Their new policies on intellectual property protection and inventor acknowledgement were modeled directly after the program I'd established at Tech Innovation. "This was never about revenge," I said, raising my glass with a feeling of deep fulfillment. "It was about proper recognition, about showing everyone that innovation isn't faceless. It comes from real people with real expertise who deserve genuine credit." "To proper recognition," Jonathan agreed, clinking his glass against mine. As golden afternoon sunlight streamed through my office windows, I felt a wave of emotion reflecting on my journey. At 53, I had finally achieved what had eluded me throughout my career, not just success, but true acknowledgement. My name was now permanently linked to the innovation that had transformed an industry. Exactly where it belonged.